Good morning. Today we are continuing working with our shapes. Today we are doing CO67. I can calculate the area of a parallelogram. So this is going to be a little different, similar but different than the rectangle. So the area is still the number of square units needed to cover a figure, but our shape is going to look a little different. This time our shape is a parallelogram. Now a parallelogram is a quadrilateral. So what have we learned about quadrilaterals? Quad means four, lateral means sides. So it's still going to have four sides, but it's not going to have those right corners like a rectangle and square have. A quadrilateral, parallelogram is a quadrilateral with two pairs of parallel sides. What does it mean if sides are parallel? A&H.
They're the same thing, and they never cross.
They're not the same thing, they're lines or sides, but they never cross. They will, if we continue the sides of a parallelogram, so we have a parallelogram here, let's do this one. If we continue those sides, they are never going to meet. They are going straight across, they will never, ever, ever meet. Same thing with our ends here. If we continue, they will never, ever meet. When lines are parallel, we know they will never meet. So that's different than our squares and our rectangles because they do not have right corners. You can see that those angles are not 90 degrees. So when we look at our corner angles, they are not 90 degrees. If they're 90 degrees, then it's a rectangle. Then they have those right angles. Parallelograms do not have to have right angles to them. So we have a formula for finding the area of a parallelogram. We know for a rectangle, it's the length times the width. It's different for a parallelogram. A parallelogram, it is the base times the height. We could say the B times the H, base times the height. So we need to know what that means. Instead of looking for a length and a width, we need to be very, very careful with a parallelogram because looking for that height is different than looking for the width. The height is a vertical line. Sometimes we have to imagine it or draw it in that connects the bases, not the diagonal side. So it is not that end piece that is diagonal. Our bases are going to be the top or the bottom. Those are the bases. So if they give you the number on the top, that is the exact same as on the bottom. So we know that is 17 centimeters. So your base is on the bottom. Your height goes straight up to the other side. It makes that right angle. So think about with our rectangle, we had to go with the right angles. The length and the width had that connected by the right angle. Same thing with the parallelogram. You have to have that height connected to the base with the right angle. So they might give us what that width is, that diagonal. We don't want it. That's extra information. So even if they tell us what length that diagonal is. We don't want it. To find the area, you are just going straight up. So it would be 6 and 12 centimeters. If you're doing the perimeter of a parallelogram, what numbers would we use? So if we're looking at this parallelogram here, this one right here, if we're doing a perimeter, what numbers would we use, James?
You do 12 on the upside too.
Yep.
And then you have 8 on the other diagonal side. And then you have like 6.
Correct. So if we are doing perimeter, we want to do the whole outside. So your garden, your yard might be a goofy shape. It might not be that straight rectangle. Perimeter is always on the outside. To do the area of the parallelogram, that's when we say we want the height with the right angle, and we do these two. Does that make sense? So the perimeter is the same like finding the perimeter of any other shape. It's always all of the outside numbers for perimeter. You add them up. If there's none listed, means you can find it. So even if there isn't a number there, you have to figure out what it is so you can add it together. The area of our parallelogram is always with that right angle, the base times the height. So that right angle really helps us with our rectangle, with our square, with our parallelogram. Finding the area, you go with the two lines that make the right angle. So what would our area be for this first parallelogram? Matthew? What is it? Can somebody figure it out? Bennett? How did you get 72, Bennett? She did the 12 for the base times the 6 for the height, and she got 72. So when we are doing our work today, I want you to show your work, even though the directions didn't say it. Showing your work is telling you what you are multiplying together to get your answer. So write down the two numbers that you're multiplying, because sometimes they give us more than two numbers. And we want to make sure we're using the correct ones to answer our problem. On the bottom, we have review. So make sure you're thinking through and doing the review on the bottom. Aiden?
So why wouldn't you use the 8? Is that extra information for them?
It's extra information, yes. Sometimes they give us extra information, and we need to know that for the area, we only use the two numbers that make the right angle. Aiden?
There's the number 5 on the third one, extra information too.
So what two numbers do we need to make an area? The base and the height. So what's my base? Which number?
10.
What's my height?
5.
So your question was, is 5 the extra number? Is 5 an extra number? No, which one's the extra number?
6.
The 6. Okay, we don't need the diagonal when we do the area. So make sure that you're looking, where is that right angle? Okay, that's my height. It goes straight up and down from my base. So you need to use the two numbers that give you that right angle. If they give you an extra, you can just cross it off. Any other questions? Okay, for my friends at home, we hope you are well, and we hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day. Just finish. This is a one-page assignment, so we're just finishing this assignment.